Okay, so if you can't tell by my very manly voice, I'm actually quite sick. Yesterday I had to take the day off to recuperate, fighting a nasty cold, possibly even the flu, as it's, flu season. So I had initially recorded my days 3, 4, and 5 last week. I did not like what I ended up saying. I was reviewing, trying to edit. So I'm gonna try it again. Again, I am a little sick, so please bear with me. I'm sorry. The third, my personality. I actually thoroughly enjoy personality tests. A lot of times I learn more about myself. We all have this picture of what we'd like to be and what we strive for versus who we really are in our natural state. It's kind of funny because I know I'm a very big overall thinker. I'm not very good at executing small details. I can give grandiose ideas. I have all kinds of really cool, like, again, kind of just big picture. This is where I'd like to see us, or I like to do. But because it's not intrinsic for me to do all these small little tactical pieces of it, I really enjoy having this big picture and learning how to execute and how to put all the little pieces together to make this big idea a reality. Particularly, I love working with people who do a really good job at doing all those small tactical things and getting those done, getting all these people in a room and like, okay, this is my idea, how do we go about it? And then again, trying to get these experts on all these different little entities to put it together to have this big picture. I've been very blessed to be able to do that several times with different jobs that I've done, whether it be internships or my full-time paid positions as an engineer, and even as a volunteer through the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, now through even SWE and Latinas in STEM. Again, just these different organizations, I'm able to bring ideas and then again piece together people and or committees or groups to be able to execute it. So I'm really excited. I love doing that. But even more so is when I'm stressed, my personality is to take things really personal. If I don't have information, I start freaking out and have anxiety. It's not that I'm a micromanager, I just like to be well informed. Because I don't do all the small tasks, it's hard for me to micromanage because I don't even really understand or know what small tasks need to be done. Again, to me, it's just big picture. I'm really big about milestones, kind of our end goal, when's our dates, are we hitting our deadlines? Again, I just kind of a big picture overview, and as long as I feel like I'm getting fed information, I'm really happy. And it is what it is. But again, it's just kind of my personality, big picture wise, like how many times, what was the frequency, how many occurrences, stuff like that. So essentially that's kind of my personality. I'm kind of big, I'm very emotional, I'm rather confrontational. As much of a people pleaser as I am, I want to understand what the problem is, because if I don't understand, or I'm not understanding what you have a problem with me or someone else or the process or whatever it may be, if I don't understand, like I have to understand. Same way that I have to have information, like I have to understand what your problem is, why you don't like me, what's going on, or whatever. Like I have to know. It like eats me inside, or I go crazy. I just have to have this influx of improving, getting better. I have to have an idea of what my end goal is or what I'm shooting for. Again, just this continuous improvement need that I have. There's just a big part of my personality. And so my family, I am the oldest of 3 kids raised by a single mother. Again, it's just kind of, I've always assumed leadership roles. I'm always kind of mother hen, if you will. I do really well in the motherly role. A lot of times people don't ask me to be in those roles, but I tend to just kind of gravitate towards them anyway. And so even that, it's not that I was asked to be a second parent. My mom, always wanted me to be a kid. I just always felt like it was my responsibility as the oldest child. I needed to help her. And so even that, my brother and sister, we're all only 2 years apart. I'm 2 years older than my brother. My brother's 2 years older than my sister. And essentially my sister and I are only 4 years apart. oldest to youngest, but again, I just always felt like I needed to mother people. I needed to help coach and help, make sure they didn't make the same mistakes I did, whereas, we were totally different people, and that's just kind of my personality. I just always want to help. And then on top of that, we moved around. It's kind of funny. I went to 3 different high schools. A big part of, I guess, my childhood or growing up, a lot of people don't know or understand. But I grew up in Victoria, Texas, which I wrote a little bit about in my first few blogs. But I grew up in Victoria, Texas, which, is considered South Texas. It's an hour between Houston and Corpus Christi. And I know it was kind of a small town. So I grew up from the ages, I guess, 0 to 2, I lived in Victoria. And then from 2 to 6, I lived in a town called Moravia, which was on the outskirts of Hallettsville and Moulton, which are even smaller towns in the South Texas, or now moving towards the central South Texas area. And then from there, I moved back to Victoria when I was 7. So from 7 to 14, I lived in Victoria, and then 14 to 15, I moved to Elko, Nevada. Shout out to Elko High School, my fellow Indians. And that was actually my first year of high school, so it was absolutely amazing to me to be in this new environment, to meet all these people, to live in the mountains, to be able to do volleyball, basketball, and softball. Again, just to kind of bring newness, and it was the first time I had really traveled, if you will. It was absolutely amazing and beautiful. I loved it, the people, the school. I took drafting my first year, and as a freshman, that's actually why I became an engineer, fell in love with it. Shout out to Mr. Aikenhead, my drafting teacher. And then furthermore, I moved back to Victoria. We had some tragic family issues happen that brought me back to Victoria for 2 more years. I went to a private school called St. Joseph High School, known as St. Joe. Definitely did not fit in there with all these rich kids of my town. I was definitely there on scholarship, played every sport I could there as well. Again, I was just kind of back in Victoria, and I left this big, beautiful place that had so much potential and opportunity for me to be back in this hometown where I felt like just kind of it is what it is. So then, thankfully, my senior year in high school, I moved to Harker Heights in the Killeen, Fort Hood area. There, I just really felt like, again, it was just a huge blessing to be able to be in such a diverse culture, to find, all the girls on my basketball team and have them accept me and love me and kind of just teach me about, diversity, and even just diversity within diversity. It was just this really great vibe of girls getting together, and we were a 5A school, and we just meshed really well. I mean, some of those girls on my team were some of the best friends I ever had. Absolutely amazing, wonderful, wonderful people. And even just Harker Heights, them growing up in a military environment, these girls moved all over the world and had to make friends quickly, and they just, I guess it's the first time I had ever been experienced into a very non-judgmental state. They just kind of, well, who are you? Tell me who you are. And that, for me, was kind of weird, because I was like, I don't even know who I am. Like, usually it's already been pegged on me as a label as to how much money my parents made, or how many businesses they owned, or what kind of clothes I wore. And so this was like totally new for me. The whole experience of just being at a school where people kind of accepted me, and in turn it really encouraged me to pursue other options when it came to college. And that's essentially why I got into Marquette University. Again, it was just an opportunity to travel. Nothing was really stopping me. It was really, really great. So yeah, it's a little bit about my family, about me growing up. And I'll catch you guys on the next video.